Hi guys, Chris and PJ here live in the Dream Giveaway Garage.
Hello sir, welcome to Thursday.
Not only that, but today a very special feature. It is called Battle of the F-Bodies.
Is that a play on words for anything else?
It could be.
But you don't have an F-body behind you.
I don't. I have a Cadillac behind me. So before we get to the F-Bodies, we're going to remind you guys there's 5 days left to get your entries to win. VIN number 1, Cadillac CT4V Blackwing, not a regular CT4V, the Blackwing version. That's the 3.6 twin turbo 472 horse. Pretty peppy Cadillac right here. Luxury, power, performance, handling.
I guess if you're into that stuff. Actually, I like the way it looks.
You like it for the way it looks?
Yeah.
PJ,
I love that wrap.
I've seen you drive. You're into performance. Who's out there, PJ?
I like to definitely get around faster than most. But,
right. You like to maximize the power of whatever vehicle you're in, right?
That's right. The Oklahoma Nobody Says the graphics make it stand out, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Really
the
does.
way it looks, it's just incredible.
Great car. And again, there'll be no doubt in anybody's mind that you're driving a Blackwing. I still have, it's a tough time. I'll see a V on the road. You can't tell if it's a Blackwing or it's a V. On this one, you can. In fact, I was showing someone this morning, well, we were giving a tour this morning, and we're showing the microscopic call out of Blackwing right here on the seat.
Oh, that's right.
Come on, Cadillac, get with it.
So that's how you know you're driving a
That's how you know you're driving a Blackwing. It's like the tag on a shirt, right?
That's right.
You never even see it because you're wearing the shirt.
It's more annoying than anything.
Ah, there you go. Let's get to the F-bodies, shall we?
The F-bodies.
Okay,
Right,
so we have two F-bodies in here. The first is a Z28, 1970 and a half. We've talked a lot about it. Best of the best. And I love this car. It is such a wonderful representation of Chevy muscle in 1970. This one, giving it away by itself. We didn't pair with a new Z28 because I don't think there is a new Z28, right?
Split bumper.
Split bumper, which means it has a Rally Sport package. Excellent restoration. Anywhere you look on it, the interior is great, the exterior is great, the engine bay is great. What a great car. So, F-body. Both Chevy and Pontiac had F-bodies. Chevy was first to market with the F-body with the Camaro in September. They announced it in September of 1966 for the 1967 model year. Firebird came a little bit later, about 6 months later, because Pontiac was given the Camaro and said, make it something different, make it look more Pontiac-ish. Is that a word? It is now. So, first 3 years, 67, 68, 69, they're called the first gen. Then from 1970 to 1981 is called the second gen. We'll just deal with those two generations. So this is a first year, second generation, 1970 and a half. And whether you look at a 70 and a half Camaro or you look at a 77 Bandit or you look at an 81 Z28, they all have the same similar body, shape, and style. That generation didn't change until 1982, but that's another story. So this is such a great car. In fact, if you had to pick, oh, now I'm looking at the Nova. Hold on. Now I'm falling in love with the Nova. But we're not talking about you today. We're talking about the Z28. Yeah.
We have two of them.
We have two of them. The other one is the 68 Firebird. So do we want to walk all the way over there now, or do we want to show the features of, let's talk about the differences between
All right,
them.
let's pull up on the screen.
Okay, sounds good.
So
Okay, great. So first difference, of course, after generation is body style. The Camaro, of course, being a coupe. The Firebird, of course, being a convertible. And what's really interesting is both Firebirds and Camaros were built in the same factories. So as you guys are asking what those factories are, they were Lordstown, Ohio, Norwood, Ohio, and Van Nuys, California, which is now Walmart parking lot, I must tell you. It's true. So,
What else do you see different here, Chris?
well, let's see what else we're looking at here. So the other thing, look at the original MSRP on these two cars. So the Firebird came in a little bit cheaper at about, what, $3,800? Yeah, and the Camaro came in at, what, $4,200? So the Camaro costs a little bit more, but, and this is the most surprising fact of the day to me. Look at where the high retail value of both of these cars are in 2023. That Firebird is way far ahead of the Camaro Z28, and I would have never guessed that. 135 grand versus 96 grand. We're going to talk about everything else on this chart in a minute, but now let's show you the 1968 Firebird, right?
That's right.
Yeah, beautiful car, Starlight Black, which is a special order color in 1968. I think we showed a little bit of this yesterday. It also has that F-body architecture to it, but this is a first generation F-body, second year of the first gen. And while you're looking in there, and we'll show you again in the chart, it is a 4-speed car, and so is the Z28, but they are different 4-speeds. We'll talk about that in a bit. Wonderful look here. You may have noticed from the Z28 to the Firebird that these still have they don't have the headrests on them, right? And I think that the Z28 has the optional headrest. They're still low back seats. They're not integrated like in 1971, 1972 has the optional headrest with the low back. This does not have the optional headrest. Let's show that chart again, PJ,
All right.
and go through the rest of it, huh? So great. So now we're talking about engine displacement, and what's really interesting is that they are both 350 cubic inches, but the engines are entirely different. Yes, they're both V8s, but a Pontiac 350 is not a Chevy 350. No, nowhere even close. Entirely different look, and I've got to tell you, you don't know how many times in my life people have come up to me and looked at a Pontiac 350 and said, well, that's a nice Chevy 350. It's not a Chevy 350. It's just the number that's the same. The engine is different. They're both 4 barrels. We didn't put that on the chart. Let's see what else we got on the
You know
list
what else
here.
we didn't put on the chart
What?
right here?
What?
Rex says, love that beautiful white shifter knob.
We didn't put the color of the shifter knobs on this chart. Let's get back to and do that right, PJ. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about here are the lifters. Now, Pontiac hydraulic lifters, nice smooth running at 350. The Chevy has solid lifters. That's a solid lifter LT1 high performance engine. Horsepower, that's got to come up next, right? 320 on the Pontiac, nice and smooth. 360 on the LT1 Camaro. And that same engine in the Corvette that year is 370 horsepower. So if you're going for horsepower, go for the Camaro. If you're going for a smooth classic ride, go for the Firebird.
Kevin wants to know which one is going to get you kicked out of your neighborhood.
Oh, darn it. I think the Z28 would get you kicked out of your neighborhood. Yeah, but either could. Depends on your neighborhood.
Kathy says, I love them both, but I love the Firebird more. And you and I had this conversation before.
Right.
We started this. You're a Pontiac guy.
I'm a Pontiac
You
guy,
are a Pontiac guy.
and I love the Z28 more than this Firebird
So if you could
350.
take the keys to either one of these,
I
knowing
would-
that the Firebird is way more valuable.
I would take
today's
the
dollars.
Z28. I wouldn't even hesitate. But I have to tell you guys, I already own a 68 Firebird convertible, so maybe that has something to do with it. Aha! All right, what else is on our list, PJ? You read it to me, okay?
Let's see here. I'm just going back here and look at some of these comments. Because
Right? Oh, the 4 speeds. So the transmissions,
Oh, yeah.
wide ratio M20, they're both Muncie. Muncie, of course, from Muncie, Indiana, where they were built. The Camaro has a M21. So it has a sportier 4-speed in it. So that's the difference on those as well. We're also talking about the wheels and some of the things that they have in common, 4-speed being one of them, the next thing being the wheels. And at this time in history, they are both wearing 15-inch wheels. Rally 2s on the Firebird, Chevy Rallies over on the Z28. I must tell you, however, that 68 Firebirds did not come with 15-inch wheels. They only came with 14-inch wheels. Same with Camaro in 1968. It wasn't until 1970 that the F-body, whether you got a Chevy or you got a Pontiac, became available with a 15-inch wheel. So there you go.
Well, James says he absolutely loves going topless, and obviously, this is a wonderful. I mean, all this whole row is.
Yeah, a whole row is great. Yeah. Wasn't there one other thing they both have in common, PJ? Look down there at the bottom of that chart.
It was. I think it was just the wheels there. Engine displacement.
Okay, talk about wheels, engine displacement, and transmission. Oh, great. So there we go. We've made it through the whole list, comparing and contrasting the 1968 Firebird 350HO convertible with the 1970 Chevy Z28.
And it's almost split. All the people writing in our chat.
Kind of split.
It's kind of split.
Yeah.
Between Camaro and Firebird.
And I got to tell you, they're both great driving cars. I've had them both out. You'd be very pleased putting either one in your garage. I'll remind you how to enter. You go to dreamgiveaway.com, use promo code Facebook Live or promo code YouTube, and you will get those bonus tickets.
Kathy has a question here.
Yes,
Chris,
Kathy.
Backtracking to cars referring to as half a year, like 70 and a half.
Sure.
How late in the year would it make a car to make a half year?
Well, remember, back in those days, September was a new product release. So if a vehicle release for the model year was January or later, they would put the half with it, right? And they did that with the first Mustang, released on April 17th of 1964. They call that a 64 and a half, right?
Yep. Anthony says, I was an Oldsmobile guy as a kid, had a 65 Cutlass F85 330 cubic inch 2-speed auto. Wish I still had it.
Now, I've got to tell you something, now that you're bringing up Oldsmobile, and I'm going to bring up Buick. What if General Motors had given the F-body to all, well, there are more than 4 divisions, to all 5 divisions? So what if there was a Buick version of the F-body? What if there was an Oldsmobile version? What if, and I know this is far-fetched, there was a Cadillac version of the F-body? Would that be so cool? I mean, you think about the A-body and the Oldsmobile 442 W30 right there. We've got a Chevelle A-body from Chevy, right? We've got a Buick Skylark. We've got a Pontiac Le Mans or a GTO. Cadillac didn't get an A-body. They were all just bigger cars then. But it would have been really cool if more divisions of General Motors had gotten the F-body back in 1967 and in 1970.
Larry says, do you know if the speedometer has been recalibrated for the larger wheels? Good question.
Good question. I don't know.
Rex says, you forgot to mention that it can be for yours for as little as $3.
As little, that's right. Make that donation, help out those great charities. I need to mention our newest charity. Our newest partner is Fire Department Coffee. They're the official coffee of Dream Giveaway. And they have a foundation that helps out first responder, firefighters, and paramedics. And we're so happy that they are our newest charity and our newest partner and our newest official coffee.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And PJ, I'll drink yours.
You can. Tommy says probably the coolest 1974 car is the 455 SD Trans Am. Maybe one day you guys can get one. Chris, would you be able to let one go? Ooh.
I own one. I own a Formula SD 455 back in the 90s. And I owned a 74, not a 73. And it wasn't automatic. It wasn't a 4-speed car. The 4-speeds now are pretty pricey. And yes, we've talked about maybe giving one away someday.
Roger says the cops will tell you if your speedometer needs to be recalibrated.
Okay, Roger, you win on that one.
That's right. James says, I haven't seen a 14-inch wheel in years.
Yeah, it's very popular to throw 15-inch wheels on first gens, whether they're Firebirds or Camaros. So guys, there you go. That was a whole lot of fun talking about the F-bodies. You can win both at dreamgiveaway.com, and we're glad that they are here.
One last look at this little graphic between the two vehicles that we
Yeah.
have here in the garage. that you can
Eeny,
win.
meeny, miny, both.
Yeah. And Chris is going for the Camaro.
I'm going for the Camaro. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more great fun, more great action, and more great grand prizes. It only happens here in our favorite place on earth, the Dream Giveaway Garage.